In this video, I'm going to be sharing what I feel is really valuable information of what's been happening with Ontario real estate and real estate across Canada as a whole. Now, there's a lot of doom and gloom in the real estate headlines these days, and it's almost like some of these media companies will get together in the morning to discuss how can we get the world to panic today. So although I want to be very real, I do feel there are a lot of positive signs of what we can expect to see into the future. The first thing I want to talk about is what's been happening with interest rates and why. So I'm going to show you guys a graph here that has interest rates in red and inflation in blue. There's some bad things to talk about here, but also some good things. The first thing I'm going to discuss is interest rates. We've seen 8 interest rate increases since March of 2022, which is the most increases, the fastest, and the highest we've seen in Canadian history. The good news is, after the last rate increase on January 25th of this year, the Bank of Canada actually signified that they're going to put a pause on things for a while, which tells us that things are starting to get under control. When we look at what's happened with inflation, in 2022, it was up to about 8%. Now, the government likes it to remain somewhere between 2 to 3%. And although we have a long way to go, you can see here that it actually is moving in the right direction. The reason that interest rates have gone up primarily is to combat inflation. Inflation is basically the increasing cost for goods of a country. And the Bank of Canada has made it very clear that they would prefer a recession any day over runaway inflation. And to see what impact rate increases has on inflation can take up to a year, even up to like a year and a half. So again, good news, but we'll see what happens moving forward. Now I'm going to talk about how much of prices really dropped across Ontario. Here's a look at median sale prices over the last few years. And as you can see, this is where we are at as of the end of January. It's pretty much the same median sales price as we saw throughout the middle of 2021. And now if you look at the start of last year, 2022, this is where prices went really wild. There's a variety of reasons of why prices went this high. The thing that stands out to me is we had a huge demand and low supply. Some of that demand were buyers that were unsuccessful the previous year, plus buyers that wanted to get into the market before rates started going up. Now, one of the things that I'm seeing as a realtor is we are seeing an uptick in demand so far in 2023. There seems to be a lot of buyers that were being patient, being prudent, waiting in the background for when they felt was the right time to start looking for a house. And we've started to see a lot of these buyers feel like now is the right time. So we are seeing again an uptick in that demand and low inventory levels. So I don't feel that prices are going to go any lower. Now, having said that, when do we know when prices have bottomed out? Is when they start going back up. So we'll wait and see what happens over the next few months. Now I want to talk to you guys about supply versus demand in Canada. Well, rates went up, prices went down, but I really feel like this is like putting a band-aid on a much more fundamental issue we have in this country, which is a huge population growth, a very big shortage of inventory, and builders not being able to build at the much needed rate that we need them to. If you look at this graph here, if we compare our inventory levels to all other G7 countries, we are literally in last place. Per 1,000 population, we only have about 424 homes. Keep in mind that typically a few people will live in each house. And with a population of just under 40 million people across Canada, it's estimated that we're at a shortage of 1.8 million homes. This is really significant. And not only are we in last place out of G7 countries for inventory, out of those same countries, we're literally in first place for population growth per capita. Here's a look at how many people are forecasted to move to Canada over the next 3 years. And I don't know exactly how much inventory we're building, but I can guarantee you it's nowhere near enough to keep up with this growth. So it's safe to say that we have a big supply problem in this country, and I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. Here's a quote by Franklin D. Roosevelt, pretty smart dude. He said, "Real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. Purchased with common sense, paid for in full, and managed with reasonable care, it is about the safest investment in the world," and I tend to agree. Now I want to talk to you guys about why buying and selling real estate in Canada is relative for most people. And that's simply because when the market goes up, you sell high, but then you have to buy high. And if the market goes down, you sell low, but then you buy low. So I really feel that as homeowners in Canada, if you buy in a good location, you maintain the condition, you'll always end up on top. I hope you guys found this video informative and useful. And again, the point of it is to put out good information so you guys are equipped with the ability to make your own informed decisions that are within your best interests.